here because this here is blocking the view.
Oh, okay.
And there's no other way to get the entire room out.
Oh, Ben. Yeah, very good. You finished your curtain today?
Oh, you did. It was great.
Awesome.
Absolutely wonderful. Yeah, I was just finishing up college. I got my school phone in now.
I got confused and
So
I,
he came over here to get me.
Debbie and Lenny decided to help me.
Called this deal right over there, so not look at the curtains.
Oh, that's so funny.
So they took, you know, the balance that was on the
Right.
wall, they took that off, but it was really short. And then,
Oh, we same day?
they take that wood factory off, so it absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. So it's just makes all the types of things.
We actually have front on that.
Really? You're just gonna.
So
I'm good.
there's no way.
Right, they're around there already. That's cool.
Good evening, Maria.
You know if Misty's coming?
How you doing?
Maybe nice to meet you. I'll send you the link. I want to see if it comes up for you.
Oh, anyway, I can go check it out on my computer.
Do you have the link to the
Yeah,
to the channel?
Denise sent the link.
Good. Okay. Yeah, go see if it's running right now, please.
Okay.
I had the video playing and it was playing it to itself.
Oh,
I was just checking the feed on the other side.
gotcha. Yeah, I thought it was probably that. If you want a good read right before bed, that's a
Yeah,
good
that's a
read
good one.
right before bed.
That way you won't sleep for sure.
No, it'll put you to sleep real fast. It will put you to sleep real fast. Mark, how's things going?
Well, they're trying to
Trying to get me over it.
I was going to start every day. It's like every other day. Yeah. I'm going to start. I'm rather constant. Well, one's off. Who cares? One was a day off because we're on card. Yeah. So now on cards, we're not used to the days on that. Takes me back and forth. I was supposed to have another sergeant president, but he wasn't there today. And the one that might have been able to help me, he had to work on intake. And then
Spread us thin over there.
yeah, and then the other one had the, might have been so he had
Well,
a
it was harder to cover the whole
so
facility.
I felt every.
So you guys still free of coronavirus?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Just like I said, that's what we do. That's our forte. That's how we, even if we come down with something, we're the best to keep it in.
Loaded with kids. I'm not sure which one, and, you know, putting all the prisons.
Well, I think the state prison.
State,
State,
don't call your fuel, yeah.
yeah,
I
I think
don't
the
know
state,
exactly.
the state got it in there in Florence. I think the state got hold of it. And he's been spreading pretty thick. Wow, so. But like I said, our facility is known for its ability to split it off. If anybody even does have something, we can quell it very quick. Now they look and I'm sure that, in all truth, other facilities look dark as
Yeah. You take care of yourself, Tim?
Yes, sir.
Good. Very good.
I'm glad to see you're healthy too.
I'm staying healthy as I can.
That's
We're,
very healthy.
we're trying to not get anything.
Yeah.
And my kids have only been out of the house a small handful of times.
Right.
It's been mostly birthdays, so we've had 3 birthdays during this closure.
Oh, my goodness.
Harris's and Tracy's, they're all been during this closure.
Yeah.
We,
Wondering what the next
haven't
school
done a
year is
lot
going to look like.
So, eat dinner in the car, you know, go to the drive-through in the car, or take it home.
Yeah.
That type of thing. Yeah, so
Virtual.
we've been secluding ourselves quite a bit.
Yeah. I gotta work, but I work, go home.
Yeah, we work on that, about it.
Like, go drive through now and then.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of, getting a little boring for me.
Yeah.
But I'm used to like on the weekends and Friday nights, we go out and do something, you know, and you know, shopping, or just get out.
Yeah.
We haven't done anything in so, I don't know, forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
for 2 months.
Yeah, we went up to Phoenix on Sunday, to go get new cell phones, and that's a whole, we went to Best Buy, and it's just literally drive up, tell them you're here, and they come out and bring you your
Really?
thing, and then, do everything else on your own, and so, we ate at Portillo's while we were up there, and we were gone for a total of 2.5 hours total. Then driving up there, eating, picking up the cell phones, and coming back. That was the quickest trip Phoenix we've ever made.
Yeah. Yeah. Curb service.
Yeah.
That's,
Have you been to Portillo's before?
no,
It's a Tempe marketplace. It's a Chicago style hot dog place, and it's Chicago is where it originated from. And they had, I kid you not, they had 50 plus cars in the drive-thru.
really.
Wow.
And we had ordered online, and so we were able to get our food fairly quickly. But they had a double drive-thru, and it wrapped completely around their property, all the way back out, and then it went down to a single lane and all the way back to the far entrance to their property. Have you been there before? Portillo's Tempe Marketplace?
I've been to Tempe Marketplace, and that one place has all the games,
Oh, okay.
grandkids there.
So right there on the corner of McClintock and Rio Salado Parkway is where Portillo's is, and they just cars everywhere. And they pulled up and asked us, "Did you order? Are you just here for pickups?" And they just pulled forward in this parking spot and we'll get it for you. So I'm fortunate we didn't have to wait through that big long line.
Tim, when are you guys gonna go back to,
Church on the 30th, 31st.
okay,
31st is going to be our
kind
first.
of, the 31st of May. Well, you can do social distancing.
We are, so I'm actually going in this Friday, and I'm going to take all the chairs, divide them into groups of 4, because most families are roughly 4 people. And we'll have groups of 4 set 6 feet apart all through the sanctuary. And then I just ordered, thankfully I can get them in, masks. So I ordered 250 face masks for anybody that may want one, disposable face masks that they can pick up if they want one. Ordered 2 more gallons of hand sanitizer to be able to put out. for
Where
people.
did you find that?
Amazon.
I've been looking for hand sanitizer for our church.
Amazon. You can buy it in the gallon jugs on Amazon.
That's what I'm
It's
looking, that's what I looked for a couple of weeks ago.
It's expensive. I paid $65 a gallon. So it is, it's crazy that I had to
You're
have.
not supposed to be able to do that though. You're not supposed to be able to.
I know,
hike up the
it's
price.
absolutely ridiculous the amount of money I paid. But, what's it? Oh,
Try that.
so,
Supply and demand.
yep.
Well, it's good because the churches need to get back to normal, to some sense of normalcy, where people can actually go to their place of worship.
Yes.
Misty, the parent who's watching this. Hi, Misty.
That's fine. Well,
Ah, yeah, I couldn't get
Flores able to use it.
Said he was, I asked him the other day if he was gonna make it.
Rob is actually gonna
They
retire
made arrangements.
for real.
You got some.
that's fine.
Said he
That's
used
fine.
today.
She went to forget it and come back anyway.
I didn't see him.
That we had done that, she had stuff like that.
Did she
There he is.
Yeah.
Right on time.
Actually,
Johnny on the
That
spot.
one policy where she's been with the district for so many years. and we actually went on her. She could do, yeah. she could have to-
Masks.
She would be able to be employed with us right away.
Yeah.
Wearing her mask right now. But I don't think she's ready. Get your mask, for you. Did you get those for us? I did.
Thank you so much.
I had a pair of professional masks for, I've been wanting, those are our design, those are our material on it. The material with, tigers on it, or toe tagging material with, a dog paws on it for faces.
They go away, where,
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hey, John. And to look, it says Pam. I was like, oh, really?
I was here earlier and I switched our computers to the right one.
Oh,
Sorry, you
that was.
got your back.
Yeah, I got 1 minute.
Yeah, on the other side. that's
Yeah.
like 9 o'clock.
I looked at that, you missed what I was like,
Yeah, that's what I
this
got.
time, this 126. Mark said, that's not the right time. Oh, phew.
The computer clock.
Yeah.
I'm going back to the phone. All right. All right, it's 6 o'clock and welcome to the regular board meeting of the Toltec District number 22. I guess I will have you lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Pam, please, treasurer.
As an adult and treasure hunter, I am committed to search for all the talents, skills, and intelligence that exist in all children and youth. I believe all children are capable of success, no exceptions.
And skip this one, but let's have a moment of silence. All right. Let's get down to business, I guess. If you could help me out, Mr. Rogers, could you give us a roll call?
Yes, sir. Mark Lindgren.
Here.
Johnny Flores.
Here.
Dennis Callahan.
Present.
Tim Kaysen.
Present.
Pamela Long.
Here,
All present.
All right. Next up, is the approval of the agenda.
Make a motion, we approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Dennis Callahan, second by Johnny Flores. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against? Motion passed. All right, moving on to current events.
Okay, so we not able to have our traditional promotion ceremonies for our kindergarten and butters, especially our 8th graders, since they're leaving us for high school. But student and family drive-throughs have been planned. Arizona City Elementary is on Monday, May 18th, and Toltec Elementary is on Tuesday, May 19th, both from 5 to 6 p.m. The students will be greeted, they'll get their promotion certificate, and a t-shirt and a video. So we'll say goodbye to them that way and congratulate them. Rhonda Aubrey and Pat Shoemaker are retiring, and I'm sure that both of them, they live in the area, we can bring them back and kind of give them something for their retirement later on, when it's safe to do so. There's a couple of reports that are attached just for your information. Wanted to know, the teachers have been communicating with the families and the students, and how is that going, and then the students' participation and learning. And so you can see that things have kind of trailed off a little bit. I don't think it's for lack of effort on the teacher's part, but I know I've been told that some parents have said, you're contacting us too much. But, when you're not being graded, sometimes it's easy to get lazy, but there is an effort being made. And then our school closure, meal availability, we were in a meeting, and we were on the phone with the state and found that, because there were some revisions to the meal, the way we can deliver meals during this pandemic, which meant that they could be taken to go, where normally you have to stay at where the meal is and eat. And so they're gonna continue that only through June. And then starting July 1st, it goes back to, you know, you have to be at the facility. So we're gonna change our plan a little bit, and we're going to provide meals from Thursday after the last day of school, May 21st through June 30th. And so we're gonna scale it back to 5 different locations, and then Pam will be working on getting, I think we'll need about 10 employees. We'll be able to load the food up in the vans, and so those that are working right now, those who want to continue working, that will be the pool that we're going to draw from to have enough employees to continue to have the meals through the month of June. So that's all.
I'm glad we're keeping up on the video. In all honesty, I really am glad we're doing
So, since we're going through the end of June, it's going to be the cafeteria staffs only that's doing this?
I come to find out, we only had three in food services at each school who were willing to work beyond the last day of school. So we don't have enough food service and personnel to man both kitchens. So we're going to relocate to the school, only one school, because we can't open both kitchens, to Arizona City, because they were there was a little bit more in numbers being picked up there. And then there is a lot of houses right there that people could walk to. And then we have 2 locations here, the Estrella and Shed, right near the school, and then at the Estrella Community Church, Tuesday.
That's good.
Sounds good. All right, next up, Teachers of the Year.
So our 2 teachers of the year for Arizona City Elementary School is Brittany Payne, who's a first grade teacher. And for Toltec Elementary School, it's Sharon Edwards, a 6th grade teacher this year. And we will officially recognize them in the August meeting.
Okay. Now, next up, we have approval of the action items. Anybody have anything to say, or do you wish to approve the action items?
Are you doing action items or consent agenda?
Consent, I'm sorry, consent items, action item, consent item, my mistake, thank you, sir.
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Let's second. All right, action on consent agenda, is motion by Mr. Callahan, seconded by Mr. Casey. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against? Passes. Moving on to personnel changes.
To financial reports. As part of the consent agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry.
4B.
Yeah, well, I just went, turned the page and looked at this at the same time. Screwed up. Forgive me, I'm tired today. Long day to work. Financial reports, thank you, Mr.
Okay, so we're gonna start by looking at the grants report first, and then we'll go to the budget report, because the budget report will then lead us into following agenda item, which is the audit report. So some good things happening with the grants. After this report was already submitted, they contacted me regarding the gymnasium curtains and said, hey, can we come today? Can we come tomorrow and install the curtains? So they came yesterday to begin installing the curtains at the gym, and they are done. So when you have a moment, not tonight, but when you have a moment in your day or whatever, stop by the Toltec school and ask whoever's there to let you go into the gym to see the curtains. They look great. Black back curtains, so it gives you the kind of the infinity look of the stage, you know, going back, and then the front curtains are a nice blue curtains. They're very nice. They turned out very well. And so take a moment, go by there and see the new curtains, because they look well. Real good.
So they just come in and said, hey, okay, we'll do it today.
Yeah, so I emailed them a couple weeks ago and said, hey, what's the update on the curtains? And they said they're supposed to be shipped on May 15th. I said, okay, well, so it'll be after that before they get them installed. And they just called me Monday evening, Monday afternoon and said, can we come tomorrow and install the curtains? Sure, we'll make sure you can get in. And so they came yesterday, worked throughout the day yesterday, and then finished up today.
Well, that's a shock to me because we were talking about it earlier, you know,
Yeah.
how they were supposed to come in a little later, they'd be different. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's good by me, wonderful. Glad I got to take care of them.
The tracks are all brand new, so they can open them and shut them.
Yeah, I know, I've been there many times.
And with the old ones.
That was a mess. That was an absolute.
The gymnasium roof does have a scheduled start date. So the week of May 25th is when they're supposed to be starting. And so we should be getting that done, and that should be completed before the students return back to school, which is the plan. And so they should be doing that. We do have the design plans done for the doors and for the building C and D roof over here at Toltec. And so those have been sent over to the SFB to get approved from them. That'll take some time before they meet again for that. And then the weatherization is still moving forward over at ACES. So that's still at the architect. Down in the government grants, a couple of things that I wanted you to notice is that there is a portion of the COVID-19 economic stimulus package that was passed that is designated for schools. The state is going to be receiving approximately $277 million. That money is distributed to the schools based on our Title I calculation. So it's not set aside as Title I money, it's set aside, it's based on how our Title I calculation is based on. When I submitted this report, we thought we were going to receive about $300,000. We still don't know what that number for sure is going to be, but in a conference call today, they said that we could expect 70 to 75% of our Title I monies in that amount. So that our original allocation this year was $342,000, I think it was, and so we're looking between 250 to 260. Could be more. We just don't know yet until they give us that exact calculation. So we can use those monies for anything related to COVID-19. It really, they give you some things in there. You know, if it qualifies for any of the entitlement grants, it'll qualify. If it qualifies for this, or they basically give you a whole bunch of stuff. And then they got down to the end of the conference call and they basically said, as long as it's not giving bonuses or going to take care of they gave us three different things. I can't think of what they were, but anyway, it's got a very wide range of things that we can use it for. And we are talking about possibly utilizing it to help with getting some drink stations that would be more sanitary than what we have, some washing stations that would be more sanitary than what we currently have. And then it could potentially offset the COVID-19 hazard pay that we were giving to our employees also. Because we can actually backdate anything back to March 13th.
I was just going to ask you. Okay.
Yep, any expenditure that was related to COVID-19 back to March 13th, we can actually attribute.
So expenses for bus drivers and buses and fuel and food and lunches and all that.
Yes, potentially we can put those in there. Now, we were already paying their salaries, so we'd be more looking at their hazard pay, but we could also be looking at the fuel that we used in that time period. We could potentially put that to that if we felt it was necessary. We might have other needs that are more important, but if necessary, we certainly can.
But as long as we know there's something that we could be looking at.
So I'm sure you'll find a better spender.
Well, I'm sure we'll have that.
Definitely.
Many school districts are looking at technology type of things if school doesn't go back in session, to be able to assist with that. We don't know. I mean, we still, right now, we believe school's going to go back in session in August, but, at any point in time, they could say no, they're not, so we don't know yet. But those are some things we are looking at. The other thing that I wanted to point out to you is they've got a lot on the grants this time. So school safety grant, I have been now in contact with Sheriff Lamb and with the Eloy PD on getting that process moving. I actually have been in email contact back and forth and phone contact back and forth with the Sheriff's Department. That's the one that we've had a little bit of a struggle getting connected with, but we are now connected with them and moving forward with that. The very last thing is the only really other thing that has changed on there is this SEI budget grant. This is one that we became aware of recently in the last few weeks, and we are applying for it. It should hopefully allow us to pay for an additional ELL teacher. So we'll have one at both schools to be able to help with the non-English speaking students.
That would be great.
Yeah, that would be great.
That would be great.
Behind that is the different budget reports that I usually give to you for the grants. I did consolidate them down similar to the way we're doing the budget report. I figured that was probably a little easier for you to understand. We have so many line items, and so you can look at those as you go. Have any questions regarding the grants?
Just, did they give you a time frame on that COVID money?
So we're supposed to be seeing, so the way that is going to work is it's going to go into our grants management enterprise, and we have to put a budget together based on the amount of money that they're going to award us, and then they will say yay or nay, you can spend it on that or not. But like they said, the only real test that they said is it expenditures caused by COVID-19? If it's an expenditure caused by COVID-19, they're going to approve it. Is the way they put it to us. So we should know, they said that we should be getting that into our grants management enterprise within the next week. I think they told me that last time I watched a webcast on it too, so hopefully anytime we should be seeing that go ahead. And we can immediately start expenditures toward that. Okay. All right. Move on to the budget report. You're going to notice not a lot has really changed since the last budget report. Your number there for the budget capacity is actually very similar to last month's budget capacity that we had. The reason that is that the amount of money that we're spending on that COVID-19 hazard pay that we did is being offset by our savings. So you're not seeing a big change in there because the money that we're saving from other areas we are using for the COVID-19 hazard pay. So we did, I'll just give you a kind of an update on some savings because I told you before that we weren't necessarily able to quantify some of those savings yet. We did see one of our power bills was almost $2,000 cheaper than the month before because of the kids not on campus. So that's one of the savings that we're able to see. We were planning on having a budget revision actually to bring to you tonight. However, the government has allowed us to push off those things until June because they want us to be able to put in the monies coming from the COVID relief into our budget before we get that.
How does that figure that?
So we actually have until June 30th now to process that budget revision, and we'll have that for you next month to look at. Because normally, in a normal circumstance, May 15th is the final date for you to do a budget revision. You have to have them in by May 15th. However, they have extended that out further. You can see down here in your graphs, specifically the expenditures by object projected to current, that we are still below what the projected was based on the Forecast 5 software that we use. Any questions?
Well, like you said, it didn't change, so.
Yeah, and not much has really changed because the monies that we're spending, a little bit more that we're spending, we're saving in other areas.
Right.
So,
And that's what we're looking for. That's what we talked about, and that's what we're looking for in work. So I'm happy about that. Next up.
Good job, and thank you.
thank you.
Next up, we have political priorities.
Nope. We got audit.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I am just having.
All good, man. We all have those days.
You get to hear more from me. Don't you want more from me?
I want more from you.
Yeah. Okay, so at each one of your stations today, you should have had 4 packets, the big one, and then 3 that were stapled. Right. And there's just a couple things that I want to highlight to you, and you guys can ask questions as you want. But there's a few things that I really want to highlight to you. The first one that I want to look at is the one that says Toltec School District number 22, communication with those charged with governance. It's actually the smallest packet that you have. So we completed this audit, when was it, Denise? Back in March?
Yes, it's right before spring.
In March, yes. And they kept asking for stuff and asking for stuff, which is what auditors do, which is no big deal. And we kept, giving them the information they wanted. We finally got the completion on April 17th, and so it was submitted. So the information that I want to point out to you on, there's no page numbers on this. So the second text page here, and the third paragraph down, I just want to highlight a few things from what Dobridge and company mentioned. They said, our responsibility also includes communicating to you any information which we believe is a material misstatement of fact. Nothing came to our attention that caused us to believe that such information or its manner of presentation is materially inconsistent with the information or manner of its presentation appearing in the financial statements. And there's three other statements that I really want to pinpoint to you on the very last page. The second paragraph says it's actually just a sentence, but we encountered no significant difficulties in dealing with management relating to the performance of the audit. The next paragraph down, the last sentence, we did not identify any material misstatements that would have affected the annual financial report of the district that was prepared on the cash basis of accounting, a comprehensive basis of accounting other than GAAP. And then one more where it says disagreements with management. For purposes of this letter, professional standards define a disagreement with management as a matter of whether or not resolved to our satisfaction concerning the financial accounting, reporting, or auditing matter, which could be significant to the Toltec School District number 22's financial statements or the auditor's report. No such disagreements arose during the course of the audit. So the reason I wanted to point that out to you is just to show that we were forthcoming to the auditors. We did everything we could to get the information that they were requesting in as quickly of a manner as possible to get the audit done. They're really good to work with. Matt is the auditor that comes out to visit us, and he's actually really good to work with and helpful. And when he asks for a report and I say, hey, you got to show me something so I can see what I'm trying to find, he shows us and lets us go forward. So, so that was kind of the highlights of that. In your big annual financial report, the second page in, I'm sorry, not the second page in. I'll tell you what page number 5, page number 5.
Which one are you on?
This big one, the big blue one. So I just wanted to point out just a couple highlights that are in here for you really quickly. The first is that in the financial highlights, the first bullet point just basically saying that we had an increase in our net position as a district of $1.3 million. So we are now at 12.4 million as a total position. And it actually explains that on the next page. Statement of net position presents information on all of the district's assets, deferred outflows of resources, liabilities, and deferred inflows of resources, with the difference being then reported as net position. Over time, increases or decreases in net position may serve as a useful indicator of whether the financial position of the district is improving or deteriorating. So based on that, we are improving. The third bullet point talks about how we had $7.8 million in expenses, of which 2.2 were offset by program-specific charges, grants, contributions, things like that. And so of the 5.7 left, we actually had 6.9 in revenue provided for the last 5.7, which provided for the 1.3 million increase. So it kind of gives you a description of that. And then the fourth bullet point talks about, sorry, my mind just went crazy. I don't even remember what I was thinking. Anyway, as of the last line is actually what I want to point out to you. As a result of annual activity, the general fund's balance increased by $152,757. So back on page 15, a couple of other highlights that I wanted to go to. I'm going to try to get through this. I didn't want to go all line by line through this whole thing because we would have been here all night. So you can see on line 15, the third paragraph, the general fund's adopted budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2019 was $6.2 million. Over the course of the year, the district revised the general fund annual expenditure budget to $6.6 million to reflect increased projected support services, administration, and operation and maintenance of plant expenditures. The actual amounts expended of the general fund were $5.9, which means we had $722,172 carryover, or 10.9% less than the final budget. So that shows you where that ended up. And the last thing in this book that I wanted to point out to you was page 17. And it just mentions, because it talks about, looking to the future of the district and where things are at, where they come from, where they're at, and talking about the current year average daily membership. Remember, this is fiscal year 18-19. Yes, 18-19. So we're talking last year. Unfortunately, this is that far delayed. That's the way audits go. But anyway, the current year average daily membership is 975 and is expected to increase in the fiscal year 1920 school year. We actually did see a decrease in 1920 by about 9 students. So just wanted to give you guys that information as you're looking. The last part of it that I wanted to point out to you is from the single audit report. Denise, I'm sorry. I didn't tell you I was going to take this much time. If you go back to starting at page 11, there's a lot of information in the beginning of this. If you want some good nighttime reading, go ahead and take this to bed with you. By the way, those copies are all for you to take home with you if you'd like to take home with you. But I just wanted to point out the single audit is basically an audit that is done for the fact that we receive federal grants. And so there's several things in here that are audit findings that we need to take care of. However, we have taken care of many of these already. So this first one on page 11 is the capital assets. This is something that was kind of inherited over the course of the last several years. And so this is something that we are going to be working on to try to resolve and get taken care of. We have actually resolved some items that were on previous years, but we just haven't gotten it completely taken care of. And basically what this is saying is that in our system, our capital assets don't actually match what we actually have. And so we need to make sure that we reconcile that and get it to correct. And that's something we're going to be working on.
It's hard because those are transactions that happen with the former superintendent, and we're looking at why doesn't it match up, and we're trying to find that information.
Yeah, trying to discover what exactly.
I think we already kind of know what you're up to.
Yeah.
So we got to try to find that information.
It's not
Readily available.
right.
At your hand.
And you can't just make arbitrary decisions on changing things. You have to have.
Yeah, you can't make stuff up. You actually have to have something.
Yeah, can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
How do they calculate the negative or the positive asset value when we have so much land?
So are you referring to this one here?
Where you just
Okay, the one that I was just talking about. They are actually calculating it based on what our expenditures were for that property.
Okay.
So
What
total
we paid
expenditure,
for that is what it's worth.
what we paid for it, what we not only paid for it, but what we paid for having someone to come out and survey it, those type of things. That's
That's
what
the value.
that's the value.
So it's not a fluctuating
No,
amount.
no, this is how much you spent.
That's how
You're
much.
showing that you spent, that it's worth more than what you spent, and it's not. Okay. Okay, so then on page 12, the significant deficiency showing the negative balance of $32,141 in the building and rule fund, that has been taken care of since this was written. Of course, they are showing information based on the 18-19 school year, so that was the situation at that time. It is no longer a problem. We found found some monies that we had not gotten reimbursed for from the SFB. We filed for those reimbursements. We got that taken care of. And we also had one portion that we had to journal entry out into our general fund or into our unrestricted capital fund of monies that was our responsibility, not the SFB's responsibility. The guaranteed energy savings contract, this is another one that we sort of inherited from previous years, and it is something we're going to try to figure out. According to all the information, we should be having Climatech should be analyzing things and paying us for some things, and we're not sure if that's taking place. So we still have to look into that. And that's 13 and 14 is the same thing. And then the number 15, child nutrition net resources. This one has also been recently resolved. So we did have more funds in our account than what we can actually carry in our account. And so we are going to be expending those funds to help out our food services with some equipment. And that would be the end of it. You can see on page 17 some of the previous findings and whether they were corrected or not. Now I'll stop talking.
Tim, I have one question.
Yes.
On the report that's, on our laptops, not in any of these, where it's the yeses and the nos.
Yes.
Then under the land, the one no in there about the land that was listing a cost of $293,000 and some odd dollars, and there's a difference of $50,000. Was that the land over there for? Did that have to do with ACEs? And because this goes back to 2015, 16, and 16, 17. Did that have to do with what they were going to do when they were going to build Cambridge over on Summerton Road? And, they bought that and then all that mess?
No, this has to do with the, specifically with the lots behind ACES.
Okay, so that's across the street from it. Okay, that was the only other land that I knew about there, so.
So, we also own almost every lot on this block except for one or two that we don't own. But yes, it had to do with the lots behind ACES.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Any more questions? Now I get to this. Now we got political progress.
So annually, you're asked by ASBA to determine your top 5 priorities. And then for this year, they're saying you can give an additional 2 on. And then this is taken into consideration when ASBA as a group determines what their political priorities are going to be. That's where you have a voice.
Yeah, this is every year we're going and check out what we think needs to be done, most of it. So I guess I got some homework to do on the rest of it, so we can get this so we can get into. You have, it says, proposed item is due on the 29th, what you said?
Yes, we have to submit them by the 29th of May. So are you going to just determine that and just submit what you think your priorities will be, or are you going to determine those tonight?
That's one thing. Do we have any questions now? Because, like I said, tonight, I'm on burnout mode. Sorry about that. They're just they're pushing that.
What we've done in the past, Mark, is we get the each independent
I remember last
Yeah,
year,
we would, if you can go to the ASBA website and look it up, the agenda for 2020, and it has all the things that they're asking the boards to select from. And if each board member would select, last year, I think I had everybody select 3 and send them, and I took the top 5 out of the 12, 15. that I
right,
received.
that each one.
And then that way we can, and that's what we send to them, and that's what they, when they get a calculus of what the majority is, and that's what they log in.
Yeah, and I think we need
And
to.
if we could, everybody would just do that, just take a few minutes and go to the website, ASBA website, look at the 2020 agenda, it's right there. Yeah, it's on that attachment there. And just, look at it, read it for a few minutes and email Mark your 3 top choices, and then he can kind of take that and work with Denise and put it on the agenda for next time.
Right.
And that's fine, that'll work out there too, because I remember doing it.
Or you can email Mark and myself.
Right.
And I'll organize it, and then
I'll come
that'll
in.
save him
And
sometimes
then
for
you
the
can-
long hours.
You can give me some. And then we'll discuss it, just tell me when everybody kind of everything, or we'll talk about it. And we'll get to.
I was good with you.
Okay, right, that's not a problem. No,
Everybody's good, you too?
okay, no, again, that's not an issue at all.
Are these on this paper you showed, like examples
Yes.
of, so,
The
Yeah, I
one,
have a list
the
of
one colorful page
yeah.
it has all, it's this one. They're all listed, and they're under different, they're grouped according to topics.
That sounds, like I said,
So we got to the 29.
yes, I'm hoping,
Yeah.
I'm hoping,
You're wait till the 28 to go ahead.
I'm hoping we
No,
get
we
just.
are. Well, we're getting together the 23rd, aren't we? Maybe we could talk about.
Yeah, we can, that's a good plan.
That's a good one.
So, yeah, just make sure that we're all on the same page with that. We can kind of pull it together. We got a little bit of time to get roll for that, so. Now we will move on, so we have more discussion about that, to the bond. 2020 election.
So, you know that our facilities are in great need of help, some renovations. And there's things that we don't have the finances to do, such as, I envision at some point that we have preschools for just general education preschools on both of our campuses. And that we have a facility, modular building that can house our, we have deterrent, we can house our students that would normally be long-term suspended or expelled. And then our buses are, we know how much money we had to pour into our buses and how that got us into the red, but just so much. We're very grateful to receive 2 new buses, I will say. But there's some things that we need to do that we're having to take very slowly because we have to prioritize, and the priority right now was curriculum, so we needed to get the materials and the equipment into our teachers' hands in order to be able to teach, to get our students where we want them to be. So we inherited being non-compliant. That had just happened the month before I came in here. So it took us 2 years to be able to be in compliance with the state. So that happened exactly 2 years, which I've heard is typical. So that happened in October. And then now when we're on track to maybe take a bond, which a bond can just be used for like capital outlay. So that would be the things I'm talking about, and it wouldn't be for salaries or positions or anything like that. And then to take a bond in this election just seemed like the ideal time because it's a presidential election, so that you would think that there'd be more coming out to vote. And then COVID-19 happened. So bringing this up as a discussion point because I believe we have to investigate and submit paperwork. I believe it's by the end of July or July at some point. So I just wanted to bring this up. How do you feel where we would stand on this?
Well, I'll just throw it out there. I think right now with the pandemic and so many people being out of work, I don't see it jumping out anyway.
Well, doesn't, the bonds, that affects the taxpayers, correct?
Right.
I mean, anyone can vote yes or no on it. The non-property owners, it absolutely has no effect on them whatsoever, which we do have a lot of non-property owners that probably have young kids who go to school. So, you know, I know with what's going on, you know, in the world and what the new normal will be, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think you don't have if you don't ask. I think you needed a bond for a long time.
Yeah, we have.
We haven't needed one. We haven't asked for one. We've done a substantial amount of work in the last 3.5 years to improve things. We have used what we had to do the best we could, and I think we've done a great job. And I think a bond is not beyond asking the taxpayers to help us complete the work we started. We've done through the SFB we've done everything we could do through the SFB. There's things they don't pay for, like building F. When we did building F, we had to put that deal. But I think the board and the district and the administration has done a tremendous amount of work in fixing things up based on what we inherited. When I drive around and look at the schools, they don't look like they used to look. And I think that the public can see that we are doing a hard job. And we are, we need to really iron that out to and we gave them back. They used to pay for adjacent ways was a tax that we had. And we gave that back to the taxpayers. We no longer take that from them. So we actually gave them back money 2 years ago on their taxes. So I don't think that asking now, the school has been just as hard hit as anybody else by this thing. I mean, look what we've had to do and what we're still going to have to do in order to continue to have school. So I don't think that asking for a bond, we need to be pretty specific about what we're going to do with it and what it's going to provide and how much of an increase we're going to ask for. But I don't believe there's never a better time than the present, in my opinion. You just have to ask. And a lot of districts, I've talked to a lot of superintendents, a lot of board members, they put out for a bond every year and they might not take them 3 years to get one. So if you don't start the process, it's just never going to happen. And so I'm all for it, but like I said, we need to be very specific.
We have to be, steel focused, honestly, because just throwing out a bond.
Well, and that's what happened with that adjacent ways. It got to be kind of a bad thing that we were doing because we were taxing people and spending money on just all kinds of stuff that's never even been used. But we had it, and they were in the middle of a big project that we stopped when we got here. I remember this Tonto Road right here. There was a multi-million-dollar project that the taxpayers were going to pay for, and we gave all that back, and we stopped all that, and we gave all that back. So I don't feel it's inappropriate at this point for the district to ask for that bond. We've done it for 2 years, but we haven't had one in a long time, and we gave them the adjacent waste money back. And we need to put together a real eloquent letter explaining all of that, how we return the adjacent waste money to the taxpayers because of and again, a good eloquent letter, very well written that explains to the taxpayers that we relinquished that because the taxpayers needed it, but now the school needs some help too. And a tax, we really need to really explain what the tax increase is and how much it affects each taxpayer. They're going to raise our taxes and that scares them off. Right. But if you have a number that says your property taxes are going to go up 35 cents, for a normal homeowner that's paying $600 a year, $400 a year, it's going to go up $12. Then when we do it and be that diligent about it, it doesn't make it so scary. But I'm all for it. I think, we really need to start the process because it might take us 3 tries to get one.
Yeah, you're right. May as well ask. I mean, hey, worst thing is they don't pass it, then we try again next year.
Sure.
But I do believe we need to be specific and we need to educate our community about it. before it's time to go and vote, we really need to educate the community, with school hopefully starting back in August on you, sending flyers home, putting stuff out on Facebook, on the website, the whole bit, because we have to educate the community so they know exactly what we're asking for. So yeah, why not?
And that's a good idea to give them a number. Right
Yeah.
up front.
Right, that's-
Don't think, hey, that ain't so bad, and we can help the schools, they know.
As long as
Ballpark
as
figure.
long as we keep this steely-eyed and we go focused on this straightforward, I'd go for a bond. Like I said before, I know we need the bond. We all know we need the
I
bond.
think so.
There is not a person here that thinks any different.
As long as, like Tim said, we really educate, get that as much information as we can, and as well spoken as we can put it before we put it out. And don't put it on Facebook.
Hey, social media is a way to reach them.
It's actually the one way to go, because we do reach a lot of people that way. All right, any more discussion? Let's stay focused. Let's look at a one.
No tweeting about it though.
No. All right. There's no more discussion on that one. We can move on to call the public. Is there a call the public?
None.
None. Well, then let's go to action items. I found the action items. Arizona State Elementary Principal position.
Yes, I put together a principal interview committee, and it was employees there in the ACES. There were 5 applicants for the principalship, and we have the top choice of the principal interview committee here with us tonight, Judy Winsberg, and you can read why the committee selected her. And if you will stand at the podium, Ms. Winsberg, and then maybe these board members have some questions for you. You want to explain, maybe you can introduce yourself and explain a little bit why you want to come.
Superintendent Rogers, members of the board, my name is Judy Winsberg. I am an educator for 18 years. I've been principal for the past 2 years. I've been an instructional coach. I've been an instructional technology coach, and I've been a classroom teacher in 3rd, 4th, 5th, and a little bit of 6th grade. I'm gifted certified. And my teaching philosophy is that we need to educate the whole child. So I come with a lot of experience with social emotional learning and being a trauma informed, which I think is going to be essential going forward as we come out of go back to whatever the new normal is in schooling. We're going to have to really address our students' social emotional needs. And I'm really excited to join the team. I actually started in Toltec as a 3rd grade teacher many years ago, over 20 years ago. So happy to return, kind of bookend my career hopefully, and really excited to be here. What questions do you have?
How many kids, you were principal at the last school, what was their enrollment?
Our enrollment was 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, and we had 335 students.
Okay. And you currently live up in Tucson?
I do, yes.
Do you plan on moving closer?
I don't. I plan to commute. I've been working in sales for the past 5 years, and I've commuted every single day.
You're used to the drive.
So it's actually closer.
Yes,
to come
definitely,
here.
definitely.
And I lived in Tucson when I started my career here. So I made that drive for 3 years. Yeah. Previous
We're closer than sales.
It's closer than sales. I'm excited. I save like an hour every day.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's a good time. I find it's a good fit because you get prepared for the school day as you drive. It's about 50 minutes, 55 from my house. And then as you go home, you get time to decompress and kind of leave it all behind. And I love to read books, and so I read a lot of books also.
So, but you also very computer literate, are you?
My I shouldn't say it's my favorite thing, but it's probably one of my favorite things is instructional technology. And I know y'all aren't Google District, but maybe someday you will be. But oh, maybe someday you will be.
We will show you the light.
So I have this huge passion for instructional technology because I feel like it allows our students to think critically. It allows them to collaborate. And it allows them to really learn beyond the four walls of the classroom. And I think that there's so many skills that they're going to need going forward for their future careers. I think there's something like 65% of the jobs that they will have don't even exist currently. So
Yeah, that is spot on to what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that you would bring that in because I know that technology is going to be more,
yes,
more, and more. If
Yes.
we don't bring the kids into the technology, and if you're gonna do that, then good for you.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
yeah, I have a huge passion for instructional technology.
Okay, good, because that's important too, because I know that's where we're headed. And that's a good idea.
Well, you're obviously used to rural areas,
I am.
so that's all good.
Yeah.
We want to discuss a little bit about school improvement.
Absolutely. So I know that coming into ACES will be in a turnaround phase. All schools are really in turnaround, but I was part of the team that took our past school from a grade of an F to a grade of a C. So I have training through the University of Virginia turnaround program, and I was as an instructional coach, and then more recently been part of the Arizona Department of Education Project Elevate, which they actually base theirs off of the University of Virginia. So I have experience with turnaround, for school turnaround, in a lot of different facets. So just being able to really focus on, we'll have focus on 3 different things to really bring the school forward, because there's a story of the rocks. The teacher is puts a pile of rocks in front of the students and says how many rocks will fit in the jar. And if you fill it up with water first and then try and put the rocks in, then the water overflows. But if you put your big rocks first and then you put the sand and the water and everything else, then you have room for your big rocks. So that's a story that goes with turnaround, because you have to pick just a few things to focus on. Those are your big rocks. So being able to really focus on just a few things to do really well as you start will really give you really more success in the end. And trying to do a lot of little things really well, really just doing 3 things fantastically makes a huge difference. And so I have a lot of experience with assessment also, being able to look at how students are doing and analyze data, being able to look at how they're doing with questions, being able to do a question analysis, so you can look at how students are doing on different standards, how they're doing on different question types, because now as we go through different phases of testing, it's beyond multiple choice that we had when we were growing up. There's multiple response questions and constructed response questions and different question types. So we have to be able to teach our students that, and also teachers have to be able to look at how the students are doing so they can make corrections and reteach. So that's some different experience that I have with turnaround.
And with no AC merit testing this year, I guess our grade is gonna be the same because there's no testing this year. So,
What about personnel conflicts? Have you dealt with that?
Always. But I'm a very patient person, very kind, And as I was telling Superintendent Rogers, I have this knack for getting people to do what I want without, in not like a manipulative, mean way, but through really getting to know people and what drives them. And so getting to know like what's your deal and why are you here and what are you passionate about? And if I have that connection with you, then we can come to agreement without too much of a conflict.
Okay, so I take it you have taken upon yourself to kind of study the school already and what it's about.
I have very much, yes. I've read all the pages of your Very Behind website. And I'm
Starting.
and read board docs back through several months of past school year, so I'm familiar with the current situation is of the district.
Well, thank you for being so diligent. Right.
He's asked a lot of questions, and I think he's filled up like 2 notebooks already. Notes. I think so she's very purposeful in what she's asking so that she has information.
Hey, we're a fun group.
Great.
You will actually, well, when I'm awake, you'll find I'm a lot more helpful, but, well, thanks for asking questions. Anybody else have anything else they want to ask?
Just a comment, I think she's who we need right now. To be honest.
I think it's a really good fit, honestly, for my skill set and what you have. It's like, I feel like this is the right thing right now.
Well, our recommended action is to approve the hire of Mr. Winsberg at $75,000 position in Fairfield State Elementary School. So therefore, I so move.
Well, there we go. Second.
I second.
All right, so we've got a move by Dennis Callahan and a second by Tim Casey. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against? Motion passes.
Welcome.
Welcome aboard.
You're official now.
That was exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Drive safely going home.
All right, next up is our district's special education director.
So with the impending retirement of our special education director at this time, I advertised and we did receive some applicants, but a couple of them are out of our salary range of being able to obtain them. With that being said, I wanted to say that Miss Judy here took a $18,000 cut in pay to come to us as a principal. So that shows that's huge. I mean, how many of us could afford to do that? So that speaks volumes, but not everybody's willing to do that. And so I met with, ideally for hiring like a district director, I would have both principals and myself be, interviewing and looking over the resumes and everything. So I did that with Ms. Hoffman, and Mrs. Pulver has she showed interest in the position. This is an area, there were 2 areas that we were identified by the state as needing improvement in. It's basically with our test scores and things like that, and those are in our special education department, and then in our ELL department, so English language learners. And so there's some improvements that need to be made. And so tonight, after meeting with Ms. Hoffman and after meeting with Mrs. Pulver, I'm asking for the approval of Mrs. Beth Pulver as interim special education director at a salary of $65,000. This is a pay cut for Mrs. Pulver of $7,000. I am looking at meeting with her on at least once a month, where she's showing me the, specifically what is being done to improve in that area, in that department.
And why are we calling it interim?
So that we can see some success and some, you know, and some improvement in that area, according to what the state's asking us to do.
Being interim, does that mean that we will revisit this at this time next year
Yes,
for a permanent position or to replace?
yes, we will, I will be overseeing it and managing it and determining whether there's success there or if we need to reopen the position.
And being interim, we can do that at any time.
Yes.
Gives us more flexibility.
Any other questions?
Did you find out if that's an annual contract or not? That the contract is
With a
contingent
clause.
upon being interim?
Yeah, no, I have not had time to do that.
Yeah, and then we can look at this application.
Well, my question was if we approve this and if we give her a contract for the 2021 school year and it being an interim position, if we determine in 6 months that it's not working, do we have to replace her and keep her in the district? Or is it a contract that's going to be valid for the entire school year? Being an interim position,
I get it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But you put some wording in the contract.
Yeah.
That would be-
a clause.
Yeah, that's, if it's in there, if there's a clause in there, then
you're going to have to create this contract anyway, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
any more discussion? What do you think? Okay. Anybody want to approve that for the interim special education director, 65,000?
I will motion to approve Beth Fowler for district special education director. Interim.
There you go.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Tim Casey, and a second by Johnny Flores. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against? Motion passes. All right, C, Main Transportation Supervisor position.
So, we did reorganize that and offered Mr. Cardenas, he was director of both departments, and we took the money that we paid for both, positions and raised that from 40 to 50, and then we put a lead on each campus. We, hired another maintenance so that, and put a lead foundation. But, Mr. Cardenas, he resigned as a transportation director a few weeks ago, but asked to remain as a maintenance director. So when we brought forth the salary schedule last month, they were listed separately. But with the cost and with these pieces already in place, and I'm fixing to advertise for the position, I'm just saying we might want to revisit trying to find someone that can supervise both departments.
And so now, he's going to be he's been a certified teacher all this time?
No, he has his degree, his bachelor's degree, so he can become a certified teacher, appropriately certified teacher in, I believe it's 9 months if you do, teach now, there's different programs, so he does the certification is looked at a little bit, it's a whole lot easier if you already have a bachelor's degree to become appropriately certified. But it's his dream to become a teacher. He did tell me that when we first hired him, that, that was a goal of his to become a teacher.
So Do you plan on using him at ACES or at Toltec?
He
Don't know
was
yet.
hired by Ms. Hoffman, so
Oh,
he
okay.
will be at Toltec.
So will he then, since he is not a certified teacher yet, so he will be like the other ones that are currently going to school as far as wages go?
It's a little different, so he does have a certification. He will have a certification, he will be a certified teacher, but, so he will be on the normal pay schedule. It'll just be getting that, certification broadened. So with what he's done already and everything, he can be for a subject matter expert, I believe it is. He has what he needs with a bachelor's in his experience to be a certified drama instructor for K through 12 grade.
So he's a drama teacher? Is
He can be a certified drama teacher, yes.
that what he's gonna be at Toltec?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Michigan is gonna be. But we want to,
Well, I think it's a good idea to combine the two jobs
Yes.
and have one person be, that's, then we don't have that many people that one person can't manage that. We have 2 leads already anyway.
right,
So,
we got 2 leads already, they can utilize those.
Three leads. Yeah.
That's right. There are 3.
Maintenance on each campus, yeah.
You're right.
so I make a motion, we approve the supervisor maintenance position, the purpose be aligned to one position.
I will second that.
All right, so we have a motion by Mr. Callahan, second by Mr. Long. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Motion passes. Now we have D, perfect attendance.
I'm very happy to see this.
Isn't that awesome?
Yes.
That is
It just took a little incentive
I
and
like.
I'm very, very happy because there's what, 7 from Toltec and how many from ACES? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just really, really happy to see this.
Was almost even because one was accidentally put on here, so, Ms. Servin alerted me to say, I actually don't have perfect attendance. That's how honest.
Yeah, it shows integrity right
Yes,
now.
it does. So we almost had even between the 2 schools, but we went up from 3 last year. And I think the year before that, we had 1. And I must mention, because he was here setting up curriculum so that you could look at this, but Mr. Greg Ryder is our superstar with perfect attendance.
Yes,
So
he is.
I wish I could be here tonight, talking about perfect attendance. Yeah, we'll put a star by your name.
He's watching, so everybody can say.
Hey, Greg.
Hi, Greg.
Superstar perfect attendance teacher.
Correct, statue.
A perfect attendance.
I just think this is absolutely wonderful. And obviously, we'll keep on doing this.
And I've been watching, you guys know that I've been watching the substitute amounts on our board reports to the board. And they've been kind of high, and I've questioned a lot of times, but even with all of it we've been through with the sicknesses that we had in December and January, we still paid $3,000, little over, almost $4,000 over the year less for substitutes this year than we did last year. So the program only cost us about $6,000 with all of the illnesses that we had.
Yeah.
So it paid off. It
And
really
this
paid
is
off.
really positive for morale, and it benefits our students because when they have their teacher there in the classroom,
Every day.
Absolutely.
it enhances learning.
I just think it's wonderful. And I would like to make a motion to approve payment of $1,000 incentive to the teachers with perfect attendance for the 1920 school year.
I second that.
All right, we have a motion by Pam Long, second by Mr. Dennis Callahan, and I'm gonna say, all in favor?
Aye.
It passes. All right, so we have sick leave buyback.
So we offer this, and I send a reminder email to all of our employees, giving them this opportunity to participate sick leave never, we don't lose it. Well, actually, we do when we get to 90 days. But anyway, before you could lose any days, you can sell them back or buy them. We'll buy them from you. You have so many days at $30 a day. And so these are the ones who have requested to cash in some of their sick days.
And I'm glad that they don't, you're not gonna lose your sick days when you are able to buy some back.
This is a win-win thing too.
Kind of works in our area. It's almost like the like our perfect attendance thing, you can't, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. It's good for everybody.
Why do some of them use like a 0.32 and a 0.10? I don't,
Because you have to maintain the 40 days
oh, okay,
and
okay.
they're bringing it down to 40.
And if you're sick, if you leave, 2 hours, then that's, or half an hour even,
It's always calculated very precisely.
Andrea does that.
She does a very good job.
All right, Johnny, you have made a motion yet tonight?
I would like to make a motion to approve the sick leave buyback and get these people paid.
I second.
All right, so we have a motion by Johnny Flores and a second by Tim Kason. All in favor?
I,
All against? All right. We have salary schedule alignment.
So a couple of months after I came in as interim superintendent, one of my first priorities was for alignment for our tenured classified employees. And two were left off that I wasn't aware of. And so these two are being brought to you now. But the second one, we'll look at Luz. She works in food services, so her alignment is on the salary schedule that was used for the alignment for the other employees, so she's right in line. And then for her year 10 of tenure, she's gonna get a pay increase of $1.13 an hour. And then Debbie Brown has been with the district for, she will be in her 27th year of tenure. She has the most tenure. She's the most tenured employee in the district. And she had spoke to me before about being overlooked when it came to alignment. And I just forgot because she had spoken to me. So she came back and spoke to me and I said, I'm sorry, Debbie, you have to remind me if that's so. Debbie's been left out when there's been, some alignment happening for salaried employees. So I'm just asking to make it right for these employees who have committed years to our district.
well, I move to approve the correct salary schedule alignment.
Well, I'd like to say something. If you
Oh,
don't
okay,
mind.
okay.
This is a little concerning to me. I know I discussed this with you briefly, but I like to make sure everybody's on track with their alignment. So if we could have that looked into, so something like this doesn't happen again. That's all.
And we believe that this should finalize.
Just to through with the closer look is all.
Okay, then I move that we correct salary schedule for the 2 tenured employees.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Ms. Pam Long and a second by Johnny Flores. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Motion passes. Next up, we have principal tenure.
So Ms. Hoffman, I did speak with her because I was concerned when I had the conversation with our incoming principal. And I said, I know you're making $93,000 up more superintendent in our district. So she said, yes, she looked at salary schedule, which I assumed she had. And I said, what's your bottom dollar? And when she said 75,000, I knew that was 1,000 more than our other principals making. And so if you look at, Ms. Hoffman, she spent 4 years as a teacher with us. And then 3 years as a capacity building coach with a frozen salary. And then, 4 years, is tenure as principal, 3 years with the frozen salary. So she gives her first year, our 5th year in July of being a principal. So what I think about is I think about things like we want to do what's right for our employees. And when I spoke with Ms. Hoffman, she said, it's okay, I understand. But I thought about that, and part of it was her attitude, and it was so positive. And the other part was just, we need to do what's right. And so, in my opinion, when you hire someone new, they shouldn't be making more than someone who's been with your district and been committed for years. So I'm proposing that you bring her up so that the new principal coming in is not making more than our principal who's already given us a few years.
I'm all for that idea because as I recall, when Cambridge was part of ACES, the principal at Cambridge was making more than the principal at Tall Tech and ACES.
Mhm.
I was just a parent, I didn't like that.
Right.
So it's not right. It's just not right. So I am absolutely on board with this.
Thank you.
So I'm for it too.
Thank you.
How does that happen so where someone can be frozen for that period of time?
No money.
Just,
Because money was.
the funds are being allocated the wrong way or like?
Right.
Well,
You have to look at
Other priorities.
Right.
As a teacher in this district, I was frozen for years.
That just doesn't seem right that you could do that to someone.
I would like to give her more so she makes more than the income. If at all possible, and that's my opinion. But at least get her up to what the incoming principal is
Yeah,
making
At
for
least
sure.
do that. Because the new one coming in actually took 18,000 cut. We gotta look at that
The
too.
reservations pay very, very well
Yes, they
in their
do.
schools, very well.
Apparently, I didn't know that.
Yes.
taking it from an F to a C,
Yes,
sure it's hard.
that takes a lot. That's not an easy job,
Right.
but all the reservation schools pay very, very well. All
But our own Miss Hellman too has brought up her grade. And
Yeah.
what was it, a D, and she brought it to a C or something like that.
Well, it was barely, and she was able to.
She was
appeal
able to,
that.
yeah.
Okay, the motion to approve that step salary for tenure principal.
I second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mr. Callahan, and a second by Tam Long. All in favor, by saying aye. All against, same. Passes. Now we're moving on to social studies curriculum.
Yeah, I saw that over there.
So there was a social studies curriculum committee that was led by David Richard, who is a Toltecs 7th and 8th grade social studies teacher. And he was getting his administrative credential and finishing up his degree. And so this was one of his projects. So it lists the teachers that were on the committee here. And the recommendation, there's some attachments so you can see the quotes. There's a PowerPoint that kind of tells you a little bit what the committee did, how they looked at things. And their recommendation, they did seek for the input of the teachers and all. So their recommendation is the Harcourt, the Hopeland Mifflin Harcourt, and this curriculum is the same company that we go with for English language arts. And so, and then from what I understand, the teachers preferred this because it had, instead of textbooks for the younger students, and then instead of it just being technology, there's actual, consumables. So there's like magazines that that are have a lot of pictures and everything, and those are provided. And then, that is eye-catching and that they can use for those grades. And then as you see in there, it's very well supplemented for the 6th, 7th, and 8th grades. Again, the civics and the world's history and American history. So So for us to get this social studies curriculum, K-8, so it would be for all of our students, is $89,795.22. They're giving us a 15% discount, no shipping charges. And they are willing to defer payments if we need to do that. And they, sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. But this is what the teachers are, just not just the committee, but this is what our teachers are, most of them would like to see us purchase. So, oh, I know what I was gonna say. This is actually the lowest amount that we've paid for curriculum. This is our third year in buying a whole, subject of curriculum. We have next year, which will be science. So kind of waiting for standards to be finished so that those that are producing the curriculum can kind of catch up. And after next year, our classrooms will be equipped with curriculum for every subject. Imagine that.
Wow, great.
So Tim, can we afford to pay the $89,755.795?
Absolutely, it's a capital expense, so it won't come out of M&O, it'll come out of capital.
If we're looking by science next year, I wouldn't want to do the deferred payments.
I completely agree.
I agree with that.
And this rate of payment, the 89,000, is roughly, we split the ELA, when we split it into two payments, that was roughly $89,000 each payment, so we can certainly do this.
So we can do this and we don't have to worry about it next year.
Correct.
And we can concentrate on our science.
Correct. We will have some consumables that we'll probably have to purchase, and I'm
And that's
assuming.
included. I mean, if we get an increase of students, which would be wonderful, but that would be less expensive than textbooks. And, but this is for 6 years. But the science curriculum is probably going to be very expensive. So we might have to do
Well,
a
that's
deferred
already
payment on
better.
that one. Yeah,
If we can do it, I'd rather not have to have that burden next year. We're trying to do something.
I completely agree, yes.
Okay, then we make a motion to approve the purchase of this half a month of hardcore social studies curriculum and just a one-time deal.
I second.
All right, we have a motion by Ms. Callahan, a second by Tim Cason. All in favor, by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, yes. Motion passes.
Oh, yeah.
Here we come back, here we come with what Mark was talking about.
All right. Now we have the enrollment registration video program.
This will catch us up to other school districts. But we can use some of the COVID-19 monies we'll be receiving. When I asked about this as a principal, I was told it was too expensive, and this has been a request over the years. It will be a task. Dave has been in contact with Power School. Usually it takes, 3 months for implementation, and they're gonna try to get us ready to go by July 10th. And so that's something we need to move on. But what this would give us, at the time, we run off all these copies of these enrollment packets. And then everybody gets them, fills it out, in the school secretary and the receptionist, they take that and they input that into Power School. This would eliminate all of that, so you can enroll online.
Well, one thing to keep in mind, I see here it's including training. Oh, what's the training? Here, watch this video, or are they sending someone down to train?
It's a webinar type training where you have a human on the other end. I've already implemented this at Casa Grande Union High School
So
District. So
Are we going to
Okay.
set up kiosks in each school's office?
you would have something like that because we do have a lot of families without internet and you have to
And
provide
then
them
you will
access.
train your office personnel on how to assist, because a lot, and you are not going to force digital on them. We're going to ultimately, we're going to give the choice to the parent/guardian, because, there are a lot who simply do not want, I know at the high school, they don't have a choice. But in the K through 8, because we have this. And there are some who come in and we offer them the kiosk and they say, no, I want to just fill it out. And you can't tell them, no, they're there with their child to enroll their child. So you can't. So I would assume we're gonna do the same thing. We're not going to make them, correct?
Oh, no, I mean, we try to be customer friendly.
Yeah.
You know, so, but I'm not aware of this, so being informed of this, you know.
Yeah, because we've been using it, you know, because the elementary district just wanted to go digital for the longest. Keeping in mind, you still have to have a hard copy of, certified birth certificate, immunizations, and the float. For some reason, the state of Arizona wants, you know, so they do all that, and because it goes right into Power School, and whoever's enrolling, they can go in there and click and print. You're still gonna print all that out for the CUME files, but you still have to have the float. You still have to have, the proof of residency,
Yeah.
because that's, you know, not on that digital. I mean, it saves a whole lot of,
You can't put that on
Work.
the digital.
pardon?
You can put your proof of residency on there also, on digital form.
What would they have to do, like upload it or?
Scan it. You can do the entire thing digital. The best way to do that is a parent using a phone, and that's what's most prevalent out in the public. They don't all have computers with scanners and everything, but somebody with a phone, and it's time to upload a document, proof of residence, click, take a picture of it, it uploads it.
Would we provide a scanner sitting, you know, so that they could scan those documents also, or?
We do have scanners in our offices, so there wouldn't be a scanner right there by, and so there would be assistants to be able to do that.
Well, just, you know, I think it's a great thing because, you know, when they get to high school, they're not gonna have a choice anyway. They're gonna have to do it. But, there is a lot of reluctance because we have, you know, and we probably have the same thing here in our district. We have a lot of, grandparents who are guardians and they're not tech savvy. So the people in the office, you know, need to really be prepared to, you know, to get away from their desk and go out and help them.
Yes.
And I assume it's gonna have the Spanish.
Yes, that's, we purchased the language pack with it, but there's a couple of other things that go along with this. There's huge issues with data entry. Humans put the data in, the front office is always behind, and a lot of it doesn't make it.
Yeah,
Our contact lists are incomplete. We now have a notification system that relies on those contact lists, and it's not just a simple phone number anymore. People are contacts within Power School that has their phone numbers and emails and everything else per person, including all of your emergency contacts. We don't have that information right now. This will put it in there because parents will be entering it as they go. And yeah, we do have kiosks set up. A lot of parents are fine with it. Sometimes, yeah, you have to have somebody assist them, but it's just to like upload a document or something like that. They don't sit and go through the entire process with them.
so, in the one that we're gonna get, does it have the emergency card in there that they'll be able to fill out digitally also?
Yeah, so that's one of the contacts
Yeah.
like I was talking about. Contacts are any people,
Yeah, that we can
dad,
call, you
guardian,
know, if we can't get hold of mom or
my
dad.
neighbor's an emergency contact. That's just another human on the list, and that's indefinite. It used to be you were limited to a couple of three
Yeah.
contacts. Now you can put in however many you want.
And, you know, and it's a training thing for the parents and the guardians, it truly is. Now the younger parents, hey, they're used to smartphones and they're gonna jump right on it. You know, they're gonna come in and they're gonna have it all done and bring in their documentation, you know, that we would need to make a copy of. And that's great. And I know through the Power School process, it gets to one point and whoever is doing it, the admin assistant or, you know, at each school, the secretaries, you know, it gets to a certain point, and if if stuff is wrong, it, you know, it stops you and you've got to correct stuff. So it's a good thing, but it takes some education on the part of the parents and the guardians.
It'll have some learning curve, but.
The learning curve will be on our part first.
Well, you know, we had it this year and, you know, we ran into a whole lot of opposition from the parents and stuff. They just simply, to them, it was quicker for them to just, you know, fill out the paper copy. And we always, you know, we have the paper copy for them if they prefer that. So,
It's good to know.
yeah, but it is a good thing. It is a good thing. Like I say, when they get to high school, there's no choice.
It might save some trees,
Yeah.
and then it saves everyone having to come into the school for the purpose of registration.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets real busy those first month. When school starts.
Well, if we approve this, would it be up and running for this year's open enrollment, or is it gonna take some time to implement it?
And
They have,
that's what I was afraid of, but
Yeah,
I'm
they-
glad you're here tonight.
yeah, they told me they do believe we can do it by the 10th of July. And part of it, like I said, I've already been through it. I've implemented it already. So I've been through the process.
Okay.
So that will help us expedite everything.
Great.
It's a good thing,
You approve it, we'll have a PO tomorrow.
you know?
Well, I make a
And
motion
you
to
have to
approve
sign
it.
the contract. It's in the
Okay,
document.
okay.
Hey, there we go.
Okay, we have a motion by Dennis Calhoun, we have a second by Tim Jason. All those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. All those against? Motion passes. We're going to J, we're gonna get to Z today? Okay, so we have the bank account signatory approval list.
Well, this is basically just removing the former, just from Chase Bank, removing the former business manager and adding another one in the district office that doesn't have access to the safe, and at this point, we're adding KG. So it's just updating our signature, those who are allowed to sign with the bank.
And this
I make
is-
a motion to approve the proposed revisions to the Chase
Second
Bank.
it.
Okay, so I have Pam Long with the motion, I have Dennis Calhoun second. And all those in approval, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Pass. Okay, and now county accounting agreement.
And this is just a matter of protocol. This is, we are not self-sustaining, we use the county. And so this is just something that we do annually. So this is working with the Pinal County School Office with our,
And they've been tremendously supportive,
yes, they are,
So-
yes.
we appreciate that so much.
Yes, in fact, the chief deputy who had served as our temporary business manager, she was just so helpful when he came in here. I mean, they're remarkable.
They've been great. to us.
And this handsome ranger over here can speak on their behalf too. We love those
We couldn't
ladies.
survive without them on that.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah,
They really are.
all right. This is an and/or, it is a.
Yeah, it's just a matter of protocol.
A motion to approve the resolution affecting county treasurer transactions for fiscal year 2021.
Second. All right, so we have a motion by Dennis Callahan and a second by Tim Kaysen. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All against? Motion passes.
Before you guys leave today, I need signatures, because that has a signature for every one of you. So
Okay.
not leave.
Well, you are fine. We're all ready to help. We're on the move now. Okay, so now county IGA data processing.
Data processing is just right over here, and they're connected to the county, they help us out, and Jeff Miller used to be on our board, and he's a great guy.
Okay.
And, yeah, so. It's
Make
just
a
a
motion to
matter of
approve the
protocol.
2021 event purchase and service agreement.
Period.
Keep us rolling.
Okay, I have Dennis Callahan who makes the motion, and I have Tim Kaysen who second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All against, say
And Mark, I'll need your signature on that one before you leave today, so don't leave before I get back.
I'm not leaving until you hold my hand and walk me to my car.
Are we gonna have to drive you home too?
Might.
Social distancing, no holding hands.
I'll wear my
No holding
mask
hands,
and
guys.
get some drugs.
We'll do it by the fourth.
Crawling on my own, okay. Okay, the ESI contract.
This is the Educational Services Incorporated that we use to employ our substitute teachers.
And the ones who retire work for a year, they can come back, right?
Their stipulations, they have to work so many hours, it's part-time, so many months, but
Yeah.
yes, they can work for them. That's a good point, I didn't think about that. It does benefit us in more ways than one.
Yeah, if a teacher, after years, and they want to go ahead and draw their Arizona retirement, they
Yes.
go to work for ESI, and if they're a good teacher and have been great to us, yeah, come on back. We're just with ESI. Those checks from the payment from ESI, do we bill ESI for like the subs and stuff, or do we pay the subs directly and then,
ESI sends us a statement, and we pay off, we pay from the statement.
so the subs checks actually come from ESI, not the Tall Tech School District, right?
And they'll apply with ESI.
Yeah, they have to go through a whole application process with ESI. It takes about 6 weeks. I've done it. It's not fun.
That is a complaint we get.
Okay, want to make a motion for the approval of renewal of educational services?
Motion to approve the ESI contract.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Tim Casey and a second by Dennis Callahan. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All against? Passed. Next meeting date.
We don't have a motion. We don't have to do
This guy's talking.
Sorry, I'm distracting her.
Second one for me, 10th, all the way around. We're all good to go on that?
You're gonna make a motion, we adjourn this meeting.
Okay. 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 Dennis Callahan makes a motion, Tim Casey makes a second on it. All agreement, say aye.
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 Trying to run out of here.
I don't see anybody saying no on that one. Thank you guys for all coming in here, putting up with me, my sleepiness in here, and,